think this upcoming NWA, the Power Live, January 31st, going from Knoxville, Tennessee. All kinds of things going to happen. I'm getting married to, of course, the lovely, talented May Valentine. And you know what? I'm just feeling ready. I'm getting myself in the best shape. Okay, I'm tanning, as you can see. I have. I'm going through an extensive. It's like Rocky from Rocky IV when he went to the USSR and trained in Siberia and everything. I am here in Canada, up in the Georgian Bay, just doing it like I do, and getting ready for the 31st.
I think you're doing everything you can possibly do to get ready for that. Before we maybe talk about this wedding, I want to go back a little bit. Fans might remember you as Aron Rex were part of another infamous wedding. Some might say it is one of the best weddings in wrestling history. It was Braxton Sutter and Allie, who weren't originally supposed to get married, but it was Laurel Van Ness and Braxton. But you had a hand in that.
You know what? I was heavily involved because, at that point in my career, I was spending a lot of time in the makeup chair. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Having to mat down on because I was doing a gimmick that was very much inspired by, of course, one of the greatest entertainers of our time, or any time for that matter, Liberace. And so again, the whole Mr. Showmanship thing, and I was there, and I had my assistant Spud, and we just got caught up in the moment. You know what I mean? I'm a very emotional person, and as a performer, sometimes that line gets blurred quite a bit, and I just lost it. I was overcome with emotion, and yes, I cried. Okay, I was crying uncontrollably. For those that did not see the wedding, but like you said, one of the best weddings in wrestling history, and there's a reason for it. It's because everyone did their part. You know what I mean? Everyone in wrestling, it's such a like Impact. It's so weird, right? So my time at Impact was nothing but positive, and it's very interesting because there was just people on the same page wanting to make good TV, and I think everyone involved in that segment, it's been just great. Like it's been amazing, and to see where their careers have gone, and again, but collectively just being on the same page and working for the best segment was great. And I think that's just a testament to all those performers in there.
Was that, I know the inspiration for the character, but was that before the movie came out, the Behind the Candelabra?
No.
It was after?
I try to learn as much as I can about any doing, and so that's just kind of that was one of the research of that. And then of course the Liberace show, which this is brilliant. He would open. This is right when television was becoming a thing, right? So never mind cell phones or anything. This is when a TV was just becoming in every home. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it was this form of media that no one had ever really experienced before. And you had the news, right? The news and wrestling. So wrestlers was one of the first TV stars ever. There's a little tidbit of information. But then all of a sudden, here comes Liberace, right? And he plays the piano, and he's got the rings, and he's got the candelabra. But then he would talk to the camera, and he would wink. And when he would wink at the camera, people were like they said, women used to write him saying, "Oh my God, Liberace winked at me," and because it was literally, they'd never been used to this form of media consumption to where you're engaging sight in this little box thing, right? We can go to plays and things like that, but this is crazy. And then when the wink, and people would just fall. So he was such a showman, and really was one of the first people to use television as just a form of advertising for himself. And that's what he did. So that's again, I think that kind of a persona goes so well with pro wrestling, to where, you know what I mean, you just take it to the top so much that you become, your own thing, your own planet, more or less. And I think that's kind of, again, something that in wrestling, it's a can't go wrong situation.
That was that wedding. Obviously that had its own issues as far as things falling apart. We had a completely different couple get married. This time you're the one getting married. So what precautions are you taking to make sure things go out go off without a hitch. Nobody's showing up drunk to the ceremony. Nobody's fighting. How do you make sure everything goes according to plan?
Well, listen, this is a monumental event. Okay, this is one of the biggest events, not only in my life but in my friends and family. Okay, I mean, so it's Knoxville, Tennessee, NWA. Don't get no bigger than that. We are going to have. I mean, I've reached out to people, several politicians. Haven't heard back from them, but that's okay. But I wanted, security. I wanted the police to have security. Well, I don't think we're going to have that, and I wanted an escort. But look, I am the manager of, in my opinion, the most devastating high-impact tag team in pro wrestling today, and I'm talking about BFT, Blunt Force Trauma. And if you don't know now, you do. So look them up and see what's up, because Blunt Force Trauma. Okay, this is a combination of experience, of youth, and it's the prime of their careers. And it's just like steering a runaway freight train, but you know what? It's going in the right direction. And so if anything goes wrong at the wedding, I have my friends, excuse me, to back it up. And then, of course, the official, I assume the honorable, as we were saying, Sam T. No will be coming. Dear friend of mine. Dear friend of mine. That's all I'm saying. I stay at his house all the time. By the way, did I mention I am at Anthony Corelli, otherwise known as Santino Marella, and otherwise known as, whoever. But this is his personal gym right now. So again, I'm here working out, getting ready for this wedding. And, all I'm saying is, hey, the Honorable Sam Tino, the man is licensed. The man is legally able to perform the ceremony. And it's going to be something. So, you know what? Watch it. It's on YouTube. It's live, and you never know what's going to happen.
One other big event in your career actually took place last year, your swan song.
Every year's a big event with me. I don't know. There's always something.
Okay, this was the one on my mind, but
okay,
you left wrestling a few years ago. You came back, and then this was your swan song, and I mean, some of it felt like real life, but also, maybe there was a thought that this was an angle. And I know you've wrestled a few matches since then, but do you feel like you'll ever actually retire? Like, use that word?
Well, no, man.
You haven't used it the other times.
Again, I say it all the time, right? I don't get retired, I get rewired, right? And I mean, look, it's obviously a good thing to have me around the wrestling business. It's obviously a good thing to have me around the NWA. Someone has to make some sense of everything. Someone has to steer the ship, okay? Someone has to take the most devastating tag team, Blunt Force Drama, to the NWA tag team titles and revamp tag team wrestling as we know it. You see, again, here's just a little plug, and then I'm going to get back into this, but the NWA, we're approaching wrestling from a way that it used to be approached in the 80s and 90s in particular. And it is the new school athleticism, the moves, the drama, but we create characters, we create personalities that when you watch the NWA, and I say this, if you watch anything we've done, especially like the first 2 or 3 seasons of NWA Power, again, Jeff Jarrett, I've always had pleasant interactions with him, but I'm not like super close with him. But this is just an objective thing. That tag match with Jeff Jarrett, he had an AEW a couple of weeks ago when he was in a tag match. Mm-hmm. You cannot deny the Jeff Jarrett, how he's able to just take a crowd and manipulate the crowd. And I don't mean that in a malicious way. I mean, as a performer, you are able to let your guard down enough and say, this is the best thing for the match. And if you do that, the audience will let their guard down enough to emotionally invest in it. And if you're out there and everyone's just trying to look good and get their moves in, and it doesn't make sense. And you know what? It's great to watch the athleticism, but tell me a story, And there are some people in AEW, men and women, who are over and who are doing great stuff. You know what I mean? And there are in WWE, right? But again, consistency across the board, consistency in booking. You know what I mean? How do you tell a story? let's all have fun. Let's take the audience on a 3-month journey, right? On whatever storyline it is, or a 6-month journey, or a year journey. You know what I mean? And let's do that. Like, so that's why when I say the tomato soup and grilled cheese of wrestling, that's what it is. So if you haven't seen it, check it out. We're going to be live January 31st on Power. There's going to be all kinds of wrestling matches, but mostly you're going to get to see me in a tuxedo. I am getting married to the lovely and talented May Valentine. And again, officiated by the Honorable Sam T. No. Do the math.
I have a couple more questions for you, but real quick, you're talking about long-term storytelling. If we can bring things kind of full circle a little bit, this love story between yourself and May, that's been going on for several months. It started last summer, I believe, if not late spring. But one question I did want to ask, you're talking about WWE a little bit. Money in the Bank 2013 has special meaning for you. You won the match, but it was also really the first time that a crowd got behind Cody Rhodes in a big way. I talked to him not too long ago, and he said that, it was one of his favorite Philadelphia sports memories just because of the way that the crowd reacted to you guys in the match. Do you have any favorite memories on that match, or just
I will say, like,
circle with WWE, like wrestling, sports entertainment? Sorry.
Yeah, wrestling. So not just his own personal career, but like wrestling in general. Right?
I think he meant more along his own line, his own career. But
I would argue that match could easily kind of stand in there for both. And by the way, it's in my personal favorites too. Philly, bottom line, they are a very, very tough crowd, but they're awesome. And here's the thing. If you know how to do this, right? Whether it's like really, really good at Southern Memphis, Tennessee style, and you can do it and look believable, Philly will get with it. If you can do lucha and tell stories like we do in North America, right? And like Rey Mysterio, right? Philly's going to get with it, right? If you're good at this, Philly gives you love, but they don't just hand that out. You know what I mean? They're very, very different. And out of all the major cities, Philly's the one where it's like, okay, here we go. Bottom line, we had, I think it was 7 people in that match. Everyone worked selflessly. Like, okay, the briefcase was going in my hands, fine. What picture do we paint? Doesn't mean anything. If I grab that briefcase, it doesn't mean anything if the crowd isn't cheering Cody. Oh, by the way, we came to the ring together because we were a tag team at the time. You know what I mean?
Rhodes Collins.
So look, we have to make Cody. We all structured everything. We need to do it. And the thing is, we did it. And it was just awesome. And like that was one of those ones that I think, like, that match to this day, it stands the test of time. And that was everyone working together with it. So yeah, that's my memory of that.
You hear it often enough. New York, if you can win over the crowd there, that's the litmus test. But I really feel like Philly, it's
the Garden.
Yes, specifically MSG, but I feel like Philadelphia is a little more cut and dry. You either have them or you don't.
Yeah, and again, like, don't get me wrong, like Barclays, Brooklyn, like Long Island, you know what I mean? Like, no, Northeast is the Northeast, right? Your Boston fans are, they're up to, they're, you know what I mean? They're rowdy. The Garden, again, if you can get over in the Garden, you can get over anywhere. And so that's kind of the whole deal.
Alex Hammerstone is a guy that I just heard talking about it, where he debuted in front of a Philly crowd, and he was like, they were kind of like, we're not going to give this to you. You got to earn it. And it's like, if you can do it, and you do it.
Yep.
Final question for you. You've played a lot of various characters, gimmicks over the years.
Over the course of this promo, I have.
Exactly. We've talked about several of them. if you had to pick one match or a moment, maybe it's the Money in the Bank one, but I'm hoping maybe a different answer. But any match that stands out as one that you really felt like you were a complete wrestler, or really, just showed, here's who I want the fans to hook onto, and they really just, it was like a complete match.
Again, I'm going to give you a very simple answer to that question. And I say simple in my terms, so it'll probably be like about a minute or two diatribe. But to me, like when you say complete wrestler, right? To me, a complete wrestler is when my music hits before they see me. They're standing up, they're making noise. You know what I mean? They're letting people know. That is a complete wrestler. Simply because you have the fan investment. I have had matches, like wrestling matches, right? Where because I was already a complete wrestler and that fans had invested in me, when Hallelujah hit, they started booing, right? Mm-hmm. And I'll take Cody and I, this was right after Money in the Bank. We were in Durban, South Africa at an outdoor stadium. And we ended up doing the tag thing, but then we got in a fight and broke down. We wrestled for it was like 48 or 49 minutes. So we were like almost the entire second half of the show. And it was main event. But like that, just, I would say absolutely. And that was just like that. I always equated that one to us. It was like Brett and Davey Boy in Wembley Stadium, because it was like that outdoor feel. And it was just like, we were just going, and it was just, man, that was good. Also, like the thing is, had I not been a complete wrestler, that match wouldn't have been what it is. Mm-hmm. Okay. So like, I guess there are situations like that. Yeah. But again, I was pretty proud of Money in the Bank. I was pretty proud of what I did with Cena. On the, we had that 3-segment match and everything. Look, it didn't turn out the way I wanted to, but shit, mission accomplished. You know what I mean? So I always look at this from a performance standpoint. And I can always say, like, I think I put everything I had into every performance I did, even if I did not want to do it. And the fans always respected me and gave me what they had. And that's kind of that relationship we have, I think, where I can kind of, I think into most arenas, if I walk in, like, if you're familiar with me, like, they'll be like, all right, well, who knows what we're going to get, but we're going to get something. You know what I mean?
We're going to leave entertained.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna leave entertained. Bottom line,
yeah.
There's no right answer with that. It's just always fun to pick people's brains. Maybe it's not a match. Maybe it's a moment. Maybe it's something that happened behind the scenes. So we do a watch list. But we're looking forward to the next big moment you have, January 31st, live NWA Power. Congratulations in advance. It's going to be one to watch. Check it out on YouTube. And thanks for your time this afternoon.
Hey,
it's been a pleasure.
Thank you, bro. Likewise.